Now, once we've logged in, my first step is to go and click on RCO3. And we're first going to talk about this home page before we go any further. Again, this is an organization class, so part of that is dealing with the home page. Now, I see quite a bit in class where agents just come in and log in and they ignore these wonderful announcements. Yes, in theory, we know you're trying to just get in there and do your work, but sometimes there's some really good things here that's going to help you with your business. And you want to clean this out. Now, we're not saying you have to read it right here and right now. When you have an announcement that pops up, of course you can click read later, or if you have read it, you can click I've read this, and you go through and you clean house. You need to always look at your home page. Now, let's talk about the first step of organization, and that is our home page. Now, I have quite a few things on mine, and I'm sure some of you do too. You can actually move these different fields around. These fields are called widgets. And you want to place them strategically to help you work a little bit better and faster. You can also collapse some of them to get them out of your way. So one of the first things that I am going to move so that it's right in my, when I log on, it's right in my eye view, is my favorite searches. So I'm going to scroll down my screen and find that field that says my favorite searches. Some of you may not have anything in that field, and then some of you might be like me where you have tons of them. Instead of scrolling down to find them, I'm going to just shift the widget up so it's in my eye view when I log in. And the way that I move different widgets around is by going to the top bar, title bar of it, and I get this white cross. When I get the right cross, I'm going to left click and hold, and then I'm going to take it and drag it and move it up the screen to where I want it to be. And I'm going to put mine in the top center and just let it go. So you want to just look at your home page and think, well, what do I use most often? What am I looking at most often? Let me kind of move those things around so that I can have them here when I'm looking. I mean, you can shift and move and put things exactly where you want them. Now you also can collapse them too. Perhaps there's some fields here you're thinking, well, this is on my screen, but I don't really use it that much. For instance, my stats. I don't use it that much. You know, I might do a stat search, but I don't need to save it here and keep it here. So if it's on my page and I want to kind of clean it up, I'll take my mouse and I'll hover it over the title bar until I get that white cross. And if I move further to the right, I'll see an X. If I click on that X, that closes up for me. And it looks like it disappeared, but it didn't. You'll find everything that you collapse under the additional field. Now yours might not be at the top screen like mine. It might be somewhere else on your page, but you can shift and move it. When you find that, you can click the down arrow, and here's all the things that you have, the fields that you have shifted away from your home page. You know, perhaps I'm not looking for my cart, so I can click on that and shift that and move that around. You know, so the things that you don't use most often, you can actually shift and move those out of your site. Just know that when you do, they are always stored under additional. If you want one of those fields back, perhaps I want my hot sheets back. I'll click the down arrow for additional. I'll take my mouse and hover over the field that I want. I'll click, hold, and I'll drag it back out and drop it off on my home page somewhere. And then I can move it around again if I choose to. So you can constantly move these around to what will better fit you of what you're looking at and utilizing in the system. The only one that you can't shift and move is the news. That's got to be there because that's how we communicate with you. So any of these that you'd like to collapse or shift around, you may do so. Okay, once we've done that, and I've gone ahead and made myself put my favorite searches here. Now, again, some of you may have some of you may not, but we're going to talk about how to utilize this, as simple as it might be, your favorite searches tab on your home page. We're also going to talk about how to utilize my recent portal visitors and your recent use of contacts too. So those are some that you might want to have on your page. Also, since this is about organization and that ties into saving searches and saving your auto emails, you might want to have your concierge on your page as well, especially if you're going to use them once you learn how to work that. So it just kind of depends on where you want to put them. So now that we've talked about the home page, let's talk about, again, setting up your information. Some of you have done this, I believe most of you have, but it's a good time to go through and check and see if phone numbers have changed, your email might have changed, setting up your portal greetings so that when customers look at your email, they will see your lovely face if you like, or your office moniker, or not have any photos at all. Maybe just a greeting there for them. So we're going to scroll up to the very top, and I'm going to hover over My RCO. And the first thing that I'm going to do is come on down and click on Settings. So once you click on My RCO and click on Settings, it takes you to this field. Now, we're not going to talk about all of this today. As we go through many of our other webinars, we'll come back and talk about team settings and hot sheets and custom displays and custom exports and all that other good stuff. Today, I want to focus again on just the organization and getting you prepared for when you email your customers, how they have that information for you. So the first thing that I'm going to click on is My Information. And when I click on My Information, we're going to go through many of these tabs. The first thing that it takes us to is the information that's about you. So I want you to kind of scroll down this list and make sure that everything in gray is correct. If something in gray is not correct, perhaps let's talk about something as simple as a name change. Maybe you got married and you want to change your name. Maybe you go by a different name. Your name is Margaret and everyone knows you as Peggy. Or maybe your name is David and everyone knows you as Dave. And that's how you like to be known into the system. It's a very simple trick. Everything that's in gray, you can override that. We got this information from the board, so this is why it's here, and you can change it. So the way that you would change that information is to simply find your field and click on Override. Once you check the box for Override, you can click and backspace that information out, and then just go ahead and type in the information the way that you would like it. Do not uncheck Override. That will make it default back to what it once was. So again, to change anything in gray, you simply want to check the box, backspace out the old stuff, and type in the new, and leave that box checked, and move on to the next. Please make sure, since you're on this field, where it says title of employment, perfect place for you to put that you're a realtor. So make sure that you don't leave this blank. This will show up on your marketing information. Now, yes, most people know that you are a realtor, but it never hurts to put your title. Of course, fill out your cell phone number if you wish. I don't think, and I hope many of you don't have a pager number. I mean, that's pretty much 90s, but you know. You have the fax number. And you can scroll down and fill in your office fax number. This is your personal fax number. Your fax number for the office is below. Again, just double check and make sure this information is here. If you have a slogan or a tagline, feel free to type that in. Again, additional information. Maybe you sell something other than real estate. And maybe you sell insurance or credit restoration or something of that sort. And you might want to put that there to let others know that that's what you do. Maybe you specialize in a certain part of real estate. Never hurts to say that I'm a short sale specialist or something of that, or I'm a relocation specialist. You can fill that in additional information as well. Once you have this information typed in, make sure that you scroll down to the bottom left and simply click on Save. Now, once you click on save, it will tell you in the upper right, left-hand corner, your changes have been made. You can always come back to My RCO in settings, click on My Information, and change information as phone numbers change, email addresses change, and what have you. Now, let's go up to the top again, and we're going to work many of these tabs. Some of them are for later, but we're going to go up to the top and click on header and footer. When you click on that, if you're like me and you already had your header and your footer saved, this is the screen that will show up for you. If you have never set up your header and footer before, or those of us that have our header and footer and we'd like to change it, down at the bottom left it says select a different package. So we can click on that link, and you have many different options here. You can choose not to have one at this time. I don't know why you would do that, but you can choose to do it. If you don't like any of our basic templates here, feel free to upload your own custom header and footer options. They will give you rules of the size that you have to abide by and things of that sort. But just find a template that you like, that you can live with for the moment, and you highlight it by clicking on it and then click on preview, and you'll see a sample of how it will look for you. Now, couple things. If you look at the top here, the portal header, the first one that you see, this is what will show when you email customers. When they open up the email, after they click on the link that you've sent them, when they open up and they're ready to look at the properties, this is the header that will show. Below, if you print out listings for them, this is the header. So it's a little shorter. Not by much, but it is. It's a little different to be formatted on the page for you. For those of you that would like your photo to show, you do have the option. Most of the default says no photo, which by all means, those of you that have a photo, you can always change it to say no photo. But if you'd like to upload your glamour shot, as I call it, you can always click on change photo. Use custom photo and click on change photo, and then go browse the computer to have your photo, and then just size it. It will pull it in, and then you just use this arrow to kind of pull it up or down to size it how you wish. And then when you save it, your photo is there. But even after the fact that I have my photo in, I can always decide, I'm going to be printing a lot, so I don't think I want to use my ink and have this color photo here. So I can always come back under My RCO settings, header and footer, and then click on no photo so that I'm not wasting ink or something of that sort if I choose not to. Or sometimes you just don't want your photo to show. That's fine too. Know that you always have the option for no photo, and then if you want it back, you can always go back to choose custom photo. The choice is yours once you get the photo in. And I'm going to go down and click on save. Now, for those of you that like to work with your tablets or your phones or what have you, and you'd like a mobile header, it is a little different. You can move over to the next tab that says mobile header, and this is kind of neat. You really don't have to type anything in. Because you typed information in under the tab My Information, now you have 4 lines to go through and click and add in the things that you like on each of the lines. So I did something very simple. Since this is probably going to go on my iPad when I'm working on it, I'm going to email things from my iPad or print them. I added my name. I added my title, of course, my email address, and my phone number. Some of you might want to add your office, things of that sort. You have 4 lines to go ahead and customize this to. And again, you can always use your custom photo, but it makes you upload it too. And it'll be in a small little window on the side there. So now that you know how to add your photo, if you choose to, by all means you can. So this will be for your mobile devices. And of course you can click on save when you're done. CMA cover sheet. Okay, well, if you haven't come to the CMA class, PRD CMA class, you might want to think about visiting us for that. We do have an actual webinar already saved under the help button for the CMA if you'd like to join, if you want to do that before you come to class. But if you're going to do your own customized CMA report, you might want to add again in your glamour shot. You might not, or you might want to, of course, type in your personal information. So I'm going to go up to the top where it says CMA cover sheet. I've added in my photo, but you don't have to. And I've also added in some information about myself so that on the cover sheet for the customized CMA, this is what customers will see. So you can take some time and fill that out if you wish to. And that way it's prepared and it's done. So when you do a customized CMA, you'll have that. And again, to learn how to do your own customized CMA report, you can either watch the video of the webinar under help, or please join us for class for the PRD CMA class. And of course, when you're done, you'll simply click on Save. We're going to go back up to the next tab, the portal information. Okay. Now, and it tells you this page allows you to manage the information you wish to display on your portal welcome page. So, you email a customer. The minute they open up that link, this is the information that they're going to see. So you might want to take a moment to click that down arrow again and add in just your basic information so that customers can get back in contact with you. So each line will offer something new, and you can organize this however you choose to. And of course, down at the bottom, you can click Save when you're done. The next field is a biggie. Now, after the customer receives the email, of course, they still need contact information from you. That's what the portal information is for. But now in the email signature tab that we're going to go into next, this is where you offer your salutations, if you will. So I'm going to click on the email signature at the top after I've saved portal information. When I click on the email signature, now, and some of you will click on it and just see your name. Now's the time for you to put best regards, your name, your office, your phone number, or thank you for your business. You're just going to put anything that you would normally end a letter with, you would put that here. But I have a little trick for you. If you'd like to add the little realtor symbol to your name, it's very easy to do. After you typed in your salutation, you've put your name, your office, a phone number, something very simple. You can go back up to your name, and one of these little options allows you to add in different types of characters. Much like the name here, you've got your Nancy, and we put the R there. The way that you would do that, besides change the font and the size and different things of that sort, it's this little omega symbol at the top here, insert special characters. I'm going to click on that, and now I've got my special characters. I can go through and kind of see a sample of what they look like. Here's the R, so I'll click on the R, and you'll see that it will take it and add it right to the back of your name. So again, that omega sign at the top has all those little special characters that you could, and the minute you click on it, it will take it and add it in for you. And if you didn't like it, you could backspace it out and do it again. But you can also highlight and change the font size and the color and different things of that sort. It'll let you see a little sample of it so that you can have it however you prefer it. And change the size as well and the different colors if you choose to. Make things bold, underline. So have some fun with that. You also can change and correct the spelling. When I click on the one that says English, I can highlight any of the wording and scroll down and change it to any of the suggested languages that I prefer. So it gives you options, and you can ignore it, change it, do whatever it is that you'd like to do with it. So you can have some fun with this on your signature. just in case you didn't know that that existed. Now, the one that we won't talk about right now because it's not quite ready, look for a webinar in the next couple of months about this, is your agent webpage. But now we've gone through and successfully added in your information. We've gone through and made sure that you had a header and a footer. You can always come back and click select a different package and change it if you will, and add your photo. You now, if those of you that want to use your tablets or any mobile devices, now you have your own header for that as well. Make sure you go back and set up your CMA cover sheet if you plan on customizing your CMAs, and again, either adding your photo or not. You've got your portal information, so that's what the customer will see when they open up their email. And now you have a salutation in your email signature. So now you are all set up so that the customer has no way of not being able to get back in contact with you. So now that that's done, let's talk about saving searches so that we can email them and organizing it and all those other great things. I'm going to go ahead and click on the home page. And the first thing that I'm going to do is go into My RCO and save searches. And you just want to double check and see if you have something there, but we are going to do a search so that for those of you that don't have any saved searches, we can still have that, and I can show you how it gets in there. So when I hover over My RCO, I'm going to come on down to Save Searches. And some of you might be surprised of what's in there. Some of you might see some really old stuff. I know I did. I have some things from 2012. I had some things prior to that because I used the other system. But you might be surprised at what you have saved. So this is a list of everything that you have saved in the system. Now, since we're here, let's talk about getting rid of stuff before we talk about how to work with it. If you're going through this list and you're thinking, oh boy, I've really got some duplicates here, I've got some old things here that I simply just don't need anymore. All you have to do is check the box in front of them. And once you've checked off what you do not need anymore, you'll simply scroll on down and click on delete. And it will ask you, are you sure you want to delete this? That's your chance to give it the once over just to make sure. You'll click OK and poof, it's gone. You can't get it back after you delete it. You just have to do the search all over again. So sometimes cleaning house first works out a little bit better. So once we've cleaned out our saved searches, I'm going to go back up to the home page and just do a really quick search just so that you can see how to save it and how to put it in different places, namely my favorite search tab. So I'm going to hover over search, and I'm going to quickly go into residential and quick search. And I'm simply just going to put some information in. So I'll look for some active listings that happen to be residential. I could pick a county, area, city, all those other different things. I'm going to go straight for the price. And I'm going to search for 1.7 million or more. And I'm going to make sure that, of course, I got 160 matches. I can bring it down just a little bit. We'll work on square footage. Well, let's work on a little bit more square footage. There we go. There we go. Narrowed it down just a little bit. And I'm simply going to click on results. When I get my 20 matches up for this particular search, if I would like to save this, whether I'm saving it for me or I'm saving it for a customer. Now, we're not talking about emailing just yet. We're just simply talking about saving the search. One of the things that I like to do first before I do that is go up to the map and just kind of check it out and kind of see where everything is at. And again, we're trying to stay away from the back button. Once I click on the results, if I want to change the results, I can click back on criteria. Or if I want to look at the results a little closer, I'll click on my results tab. And of course with the display, I can change the way that I'm looking at it. One of my favorite ones is to go through the summary so that I can get a quick overview of all the properties. And again, I'll get to know who listed it, the office, and a quick synopsis about it along with the remarks section. So just looking at your results that way sometimes can help. But when I'm ready to save my report, save my search, this will update for me. So I'm going to go down to the bottom and simply click on Save. When I click on Save, if I just would like to save the search for me, I'm going to click on New Saved Search down at the bottom. So I click on Save and New Saved Search. And of course I'll put a name to it. Now, if this is for a customer, I can click my contact list and add a contact person to it if I choose. Again, they are not receiving an email. I'm just saving the search with their name to it, so I know who it belongs to. If I'd like to save the search and place it on my home page, right underneath contact, I will check this box that says enable as a favorite search on the home tab. So you have a couple of different options. Of course you have to name it, but then you can actually place a person's name to the search without emailing them. If you'd like to save the search for you and have it add to your home page, because this is a search that you will utilize quite often, you can actually click this little box here that says enable as a favorite search on the home tab, and you can have up to 20 on that home page. It will also read back your criteria, and once you're happy with that, you'll simply click on Save. Your screen will refresh, and again it will tell you in the upper left hand corner that you have created a saved search for whatever search that you named it. Now there's two places that this search went. I'm going to click on the home page, and when I click on the home page, because I checked the box to have it saved on my home page under my favorite searches, here it is. And it puts it in alphabetical order, by the way. So I have my multi-million-dollar home search here. If I click on it, it will run the search for me immediately, and it will give me all updates. So if something came on the market a moment ago, I will see that as part of my list. So it will always give you the latest and greatest. But I also have another option too. So if I click back on the home page, if I'd like to manage this search in a different kind of way, I'm going to go ahead and hover over My RCO. It also saved it under Save Searches. So I put it in two places. When I saved it, it went automatically under My RCO and Save Searches. But when I checked the box, I also made it a favorite of mine by putting it on my home page. So if I go back to Save Searches, I will see my million-dollar search here, or multi-million-dollar search here, and of course it dates it for me. It tells me the last date that I ran any of these searches. So in order to work with it, I'm going to click the down arrow in front of it, and we'll look at all of these different tabs here. The first is Settings. If I want to simply change the name of the search, I can click on Settings, and this will allow me to backspace it out and change the name. If I decide to remove it from my home page but want to keep it in my Save Searches, I can uncheck my Favorite Searches tab here, resave it, and it will stay in my Save Searches but remove it from the home page. I also, when I find a customer for these multi-million-dollar homes, I also can, because I know I have it saved, I can run the search, click on Settings, and turn the Save Search into an auto email. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about our auto emails and how they're being sent out to a customer. But other than that, I can just simply save the search again. So all of that name changes, adding it as an auto email, removing it from the home page, all of that is under your Settings tab. If my criteria changes, I can always click the down arrow, click on Criteria, and change any criteria that I'd like to. Maybe I want to be more specific and put a particular area in. I could. I could change any of this information and then click back on Save. And it will ask me to save my changes, and it will do that. So you don't have to put in more, you don't have to do an additional search again for the same thing. You can always click on criteria and update it. If I'm just after my results, I can simply click on the results and run this. Again, I will get the latest and the greatest. I'll go back to my RCO and save searches. Now, I'm going to pick a different search for this one because I just ran the search today. I want to go back to an older search that I've done to show you how to get updates. Sometimes it's important when you know things have updated since the last time you viewed the search. So I'm going to pick an older one here. Let's do the Southfield condos, for instance. I'll click this down arrow in front of Southfield condos, and I'm going to click on Date Since. Date Since is going to show me any updates, just the updates, to my criteria since the last date that I ran the search. So I ran this search almost 2 weeks ago. Let's see if there's any updates. So when I click on Date Since, and it's thinking, I have 6 added new ones since the last time I ran my results. And again, it came back in the summary report. I can always change this to whatever works for you. But since the 11th, when I ran that search, there have been 6 new ones added in. So instead of clicking on your save searches and looking at every result, if you just want to see the last update since you ran it, you can click that down arrow, click on Date Since, and it will tell you how many have run since the last time you looked at it. Market Update is a little different. When I click on Market Update, I can pick the time frame that I want to go back to. So it tells me, of course, that I just ran this search not even a moment ago, but now if I want to specify an update range and go back a couple of months for it per se, I can actually fill in the date. Remember that 0 always represents today, but it does give you several examples. So you can fill in a date, a month, date, and a year, or you can do a range if you want to, or you can fill it in by days. I can tend to like the days. So I'm going to go back and do, let's say 180 days, and go back 6 months on this search and see what was available. And there's 2 more in the last 6 months. So in 2 months that I went back, I see that there's 8 updates. So you get to fill in the time frame, and that way you can see what's available. So under My RCO and Save Searches, again, just to reiterate, settings will allow you to change the name. It will allow you to, if it's on your home page, to remove it from your home page. It also will allow you to turn it into an auto email. Criteria, of course, will allow you to change any criteria, add to or delete criteria for your search. If you just want to look at the results, you can click on that and look at all of your results fitting your criteria. But sometimes that might be too much. So it gives you 2 options. Date Since will let you see what has been available since the last time you actually looked at all of your results. It'll just give you those updates, which is quite kind of helpful, especially if you have a lot of results. Market Update will allow you to pick your time frame of when you want to go back and get the last updates. And then, of course, we have a delete button to get rid of that search if you choose to. So make sure that as you're going through your save searches, for those things that you'd like to keep in mind of the last date that you ran them, because sometimes they're easy to be forgotten. So you can always click that down arrow and go, boy, I haven't looked at this since December, but this is a search that I've got set up. Let's see what's available. since the last time I ran it. I can click on date since and see what is available at that particular point. Or again, under my RCO and save searches, I can click the down arrow and go, well, I want to put in my own dates here to see what's been available. So I can click on market update and I can change the date. I can go back as far as I want to and get my results and see what is available. So it will allow you to do either or of that. To prevent you from doing the same search over again. And again, if you find, oh boy, I don't really need this, I can just simply check it off, scroll down, and delete it. So I hope that was helpful in knowing how to manage your saved searches that you have in the system. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page. Now, also when managing your saved searches, do not forget about in your upper right-hand corner your recent searches too. When I click that down arrow, these are the last 50 searches that I have done. Whether I've ran them or created them, the system will remember them for me. So the multi-million-dollar homes that I just did a couple minutes ago, here it is. It pulls that up for me and it shows me the 20 that I had pulled up. It also knows that I clicked on several others during that time too, and it will time it. When I want to just look back at the results, because it does remember, so it's kind of like a safe search in a way. It just, every 50, it will add in new ones. I'll click on that and I can just run those results again. So if you've been kicked out of the system and think, oh boy, now I've got to remember what I put in, I don't remember the criteria, oh boy, I'm going to wing it. You don't have to. You just click that down arrow for recent searches, look at a little bit of the criteria, see if you can remember it, click on it until you find your results. And then you can do whatever you want to do with those results. Let's talk about auto emails. Now, there are 6 different ways to email your customer, but there are 4 auto email options. So I'm going to go back to this multi-million-dollar search that I've done, and maybe you guys will find a customer for it. So since I have it as a safe search, let's say you do find a customer. I'm going to click on the link, run my search, and you need to send this out to a customer. They have loads of money. To the nth degree they'll go for, as long as they like the home. So you find the search and you run it, and you need to save this for a particular customer. All you have to do is come down to the bottom and click on Save. Now, before we talk about saving an auto email, let's also talk about the other 2 ways to email your customer too, because that's all part of management as well. I'm going to click on Actions. And let's say that this particular person, they're not your customer just yet, but they just kind of want to see what you have available before they sign on the dotted line with you. Of course, still do the search. And here's 2 options that you have. They're not very popular options, but I think that's because a lot of agents really don't know how it works or even know it exists. Everyone doesn't need to be saved as an auto email. Auto email should really honestly be reserved for those people that you are actually working with, those that you're going to drive out, those people that are actually going to put money in your pocket. Think that's what an auto email should be. So I'm going to select the properties that I'd like to simply email them, scroll on down, and for the first option, I'm going to click on Email down at the bottom under Actions. This is a one-time email. This email will be sent out, and it's good for 45 days. So once you check the boxes and click on Email, you'll simply find your customer. And if you'd like to, you can blind carbon copy yourself if you wish to. If this is a first-time customer, you'll click on Create a New Contact and add their information in for future use. And you'll fill in a subject line for them. You'll fill in your email, and you have your email signature here that I had you type in the beginning of this webinar that you can edit. Before you send it off, you can simply click on preview, and this is what your customer will get, or a future customer will get. Your header is at the top. They'll see all of the results here, and then in the upper right hand corner they can click that down arrow for display, and then they can change it to whatever floats their boat for looking through the results. But you have to tell them that that information is there. Some of them may figure it out, but it's always good to let them know that this is available to them, so they can have a little fun with looking through all of those different results. So this is what will be emailed to them. And I'll just go ahead and close this window here. And then you just simply send that off. So sending a direct email like this is good. It's one email good for 45 days. Now, this person may not like the way that this email looks, and they might ask instead, could you, or you might get the feeling from them that maybe this might be too much for them. For some of your customers that might be a little bit computer challenged, you can still send the email out to them and still be able to organize it. Here's one way that I suggest that you email customers that, again, are maybe a little bit challenged by the computer. They can pull up their email and look at the results, but, you know, going through all of this might be a task for them. Or better yet, maybe you just have a couple of properties that you think out of this list you want them to pay attention to. Here's another suggestion. You want to check off the properties you think they may be interested in, and then come on down to where it says print. Again, it's an unconventional type of email, but it works very well. You check off the few properties you want them to have and click on print. And what you're basically going to do is email the flyers to them. So if, again, you might want your header, so you might want to click on print agent header and footer, or any rollouts if you have. You're simply going to scroll on down the list, and you always want to send a client view. So perhaps I'm going to send them the client single line. I'll hold my control button down and send them the client flyer and maybe a multi-map so that they know where the properties are located. Once I've selected those, notice down at the bottom I could of course print this, but I'm going to email it. Before I choose to email it, I want to preview it first. So I'll click on preview. There's my header. Now this is exactly how the email is going to look as we're viewing it now. When they open it up, they'll see your header, they'll see the one-liner, and here come each of the flyers. And your marketing information is there at the bottom. Notice it says presented by, your information will be there. And then here, of course, is the map where the properties are located. This is exactly, when I click close and I click email PDF, what you just witnessed is that's exactly what the customer will get. So again, two different ways to email a customer, but it does work pertaining to what your customer can do as far as the computer, their usage, or again, in this case, I just want them out of this list to pay attention to these four. I think these four will work just for them. So emailing a direct email or clicking on print, and again, sending the flyers will work. Now let's talk about the auto email, because that's something we're going to definitely have to manage. So in order to save a person as a prospect and send out auto emails, you've run the search, you're simply going to come down and click on save, and you click right in the center, new auto email. When you click on new auto email, now I'm sure most of you do know how to email, so we're going to talk about some things that can get missed over really quickly. If you, of course, have your contact already saved, you can click the down arrow. But notice how I only have 4 here because those are the last 4 that I utilize. I can click on more, click the down list, and here's the rest of the people. So I can click on my customer, that was where, and it will put in their email address. If I do not have a contact, I can click on create new contact, and I only have to fill in everything that is highlighted in yellow. If I do not want to allow reverse prospecting, I can uncheck that, of course, so that the other agent doesn't have to call me. I can also click on show all info, and I can fill in information about their home, check off if their mortgage is pre-approved, fill in their business information, and keep any other personal notes about this customer to myself. All here. So that's just an option for you when you're creating a contact. Again, you'd fill in the subject line, you'll fill in your message, and as you're scrolling down, here are your 4 other options for auto emailing. The monthly, you could put in your daily email, which is kind of important, just to reiterate this. You can do a morning email that leaves out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can pick the days, or the customer can pick the days they choose to get their updates, or all PM, that email leaves out at 6 o'clock in the evening. You know, maybe they work a 12-hour shift. If you know that they work the 12-hour shift and they, you know, come in the evening, you might want your email there first thing, so you might want to choose all PM instead of all AM, so it's one of the first emails that they see in the evening when they open up their computer. Or you can choose the ASAP. They're sent as soon as things happen, as soon as things come on the market, as soon as things change. That's the ASAP. Or you can do the Concierge. When you click on the Concierge, the system will email you, if you choose, any updates or changes that this customer has. Now, they will not receive the email from you until you review and you check off the properties that you want them to have. So basically, you're approving and then sending out the emails to them. Sometimes you might need that. We have some strange request of maybe the customer needs a white house. Well, of course, we know we can't search by color scheme, but maybe when you set up the auto email and you do the Concierge, it will allow you to go through the results and, oh, there's a white house. You will email that one white house out of those 20 results, and that will satisfy your customer's needs. Or maybe they don't want to live on the corner, or maybe they don't want to be across from a school. Maybe they need the home facing, you know, a certain way due to religious reasons or what have you. The Concierge allows you to receive all the updates, go through them, and then you will pick the properties that you intend on sending your customer. So they will not get an updated email till you send it to them. And of course, it allows you to save this as a search on your home page as well, if you'd like to, because you will be getting it and then you will be going through the list and approving. So do know that that is an option for you. Okay. Now, once you've gone ahead and set up the email and you've sent it out, let's talk about how to manage that as well. So I'm going to go back on the home page. Let's say that email's been sent out, your customer's received it, and now we're going to go back under My RCO. And we're going to go into auto emails. When you click on My RCO and auto emails, let's first talk about all these different color schemes that we have going on here. Number 1, with all of the results that you're sending out, if you see a red circle with an exclamation point, that lets you know that this customer has never opened up their original email from you. Notice it says portal visit never, so it turned red after 45 days. So it's disabled. If you see a circle with nothing filled in, it says never they visit their portal visit, but they have received the email. They just haven't opened it up. So hopefully this would prompt a phone call from you to say, oh, Madonna's received the email. She just never opened it up. So you want to call her and let her know, hey, open up your email so that you can find a home you might like. If you see a green circle with a check mark in it, this person is actually looking at the email that you sent them. And it also gives a schedule of how you set it up. And it lets you know the last time they open up the email to look at it. So you'll know the activity that's happening. Also, if you're doing a concierge, it will tell you how many you have left to review to send your customer. So let's talk about how to manage this really quickly. Number one, I'm going to go back to the red dot with the exclamation point. Aretha Franklin is not looking at her emails that I've sent her. She's let the emails expire. Now, that should tell you something. Of course, she may not be as interested as she once was. She never even opened up your email, and after 45 days, it expired. Now Aretha calls you back, and her criteria is pretty much the same. She wants to go and revisit those properties again, and you want to send her the email. Instead of doing the same search over, if you've kept it, all you have to do is this. Click the down arrow in front of the search or the auto email, and you're going to click on settings. When you click on settings, notice the status is disabled, but it still has all of her contact information and the subject. You might fill in the news message. Scroll on down and notice for her settings is disabled. To activate the same search again, you'll click on enabled, and then you can actually pick, or she can choose how she would like you to email her. Sometimes this tends to be the main problem. Customers received your email, but they might have disabled it because it may be too much. You'll receive an email when they disable the email right away. You can call them and ask them what the issue is. Sometimes it might be something as simple as, that was a lot to look at, and I'm kind of not ready to do that. Or you're sending me too much. This will allow you to go ahead and manage it. Maybe you might do the concierge, and you can say to them, okay, I have an idea of what you're looking for. I'll go through the list, and I'll find the properties for you, and I'll just send those updates to you. That way they get 2 and 3 and 4 instead of a whole broad list that might be too overwhelming for them. Or you can say to them, how about I send you things as soon as they happen? So you can send the ASAP. Or you could choose the daily and say, how about I email you on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays instead of every day? You know, so different things for different people. But this would be your time to go ahead and reevaluate how you are emailing them so you get the most bang for it, so it's not so overwhelming for them. When you pick, you just simply click on Save, and that will start the process. They have now received the email, so now they can just look at it, and this will probably change from a never to the time that they actually look at it. If it's just a matter of changing the criteria, you can click the down arrow, click on criteria, get to the criteria page, and update it, and simply click on Save, and that will set the system up to email the new results to your customer. You can also click the down arrow just like we did with our save searches and look at all of the results, and it tells you the date that they were emailed. I'm going to go back up to my auto emails. You can also click the down arrow in front of them again. Go back to Rosedale Park here. And again, since the last time you run it, you want to see the update. So you can do the date since just to get those 4 or 5 or what have you that have updated since the last time you've seen the search. You can click on Market Update and go back as far as you wish to get your updates. Or since you have emailed the customer, instead of BCCing yourself and filling your inbox with all your different customers' email, how about you don't BCC yourself? How about you know you've set up the email, and when they call you and you want to look at the same email they're looking at, you click the down arrow and you click Open in Portal. And now you are looking at the same exact email that they are, and you can discuss it together. And again, don't forget you can change your display at the top so that you can go through it property by property with them. So you do not have to BCC yourself. you can just click on Open in Portal and view it. In this case, since it is an auto email, you can resend the welcome letter to them. Or if she says, no, or you just never hear back from her, you can always delete the auto email. So you want to keep in mind, auto emails are the people that are giving you money. They're your real customers. So you don't want to have this field with people that are just kind of looking. You want them to be active in the process of purchasing a property. So you can change all of these when you see, when you hear back from them, change it from the exclamation point. This is the first starting point to let you know they have never looked at that original email. Now, you also can change and filter a couple of things too. If I go in my auto emails to my upper right hand corner where it says filter, I can click that down arrow. And if you want to keep the people, you can disable by clients. You can look at see the emails that were disabled by them and call them. You can look at the ones that were disabled by you or the system, which are the red exclamation points after 45 days. You can see where your last match was. You can see what's on the home tab. You can also see who out of this list who you're looking at for the concierge. You can look in your standard mode, which is what it defaults to. Or you can look at the ones that have unsent new matches, which is pretty much your concierge. So you can actually filter this to whatever works best for you, especially when you end up having quite a few on this page. If you like to look at all of your results in the market last update, you can click on this button and every single result will, for all of your auto emails, it will tell you the last market update. And you can go back every 7 days, every 10 days, every 6 months if you wish to, for each of these, and then send a new updated email on. So maybe that will work for customers that are interested but just not now, and you want to every month or so just send them a quick email to show them what their criteria was, to let them know, hey, this is on the market. So this is keeping the rapport, if you will, with them. When you find a search that you just don't want anymore, maybe you've already purchased the property. Definitely when they've purchased the property, you want to go under My RCO and auto emails and just simply delete it. The worst thing that could ever happen is they find a home, they place a bid on it, then you email them the next day and it's the home that they kind of really wanted. And now they want to get out of that property and get into this one. So as soon as they place an offer, just go ahead and disable the entire email so that they don't get to see any more properties. Now, we've talked about our auto emails and we've also talked about direct emails. When I hover over My RCO, I'm going to come down to sent emails. This is going to show you every single solitary email that you have sent from this system. When I click on My RCO and sent emails, this is everything, and I do mean everything that you have sent from the system. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can organize this. Notice it tells you who you emailed down to the second, and when you emailed it, it also tells you who viewed it as well. And it tells you how many that you sent. So when it comes to auto emails, it tells you this was their initial email and they never opened it. It also tells you with auto emails the subject title and how many were new and last updated when they were looking at it. I like to do this. I like to come to the top and click on type and organize them. So you'll notice that my direct emails are at the top. Again, remember, these are the people that are not saved as auto emails. These are the people that maybe came in on floor time, you met at Kroger's. They're not your customers yet, but you wanted to send them something to see how serious they were. That's your direct emails. So this would be the people here, and you've got their name. You can always click the down arrow and get their email address. Open up the portal to view what they were looking at, so it helps and it knows how many that you have sent them. as I continue to scroll, here's all your auto emails. So again, you can look and see who's never looked at it. That was their first initial email, and of course when they last looked at it. So do know that this exists, so that, you know, you sent someone an email 30 days ago and you haven't heard from them, and you think, boy, I thought I set it up as an auto email, but you didn't. You sent them a direct email. You can come under My RCO, Sent Emails, Sort by Type, find them here, and then be able to view what it was that you sent them. And if you need their email address, because of course you did not set them up as a contact, you can have their email address here and then start your process of setting them up if they're serious about working with you. One last topic. Let's talk about working with your contacts. Again, you do not have to BCC yourself when you are setting up a person's email. You want to save your inbox. Every single email that you've sent them, you can find it in Realcomp Online. As a matter of fact, when you're ready to discuss it, I would go right into Realcomp Online. As they're pulling up their email, I would go under My RCO and click on Contacts. Now, every single contact that you've added into the system is here, along with their email address. So let's talk about these tabs before we talk about organization. You've got their name, their email, their category if you added in their category. So all your contacts can go here, all of them. But you can sort it by contacts and say this is a buyer, this was a seller, so on and so forth. You know, whatever category, personal, whatever category you'd like to title them as. My last use tells you the last time you emailed these people. The very last time you emailed them. So we can see that I emailed Aretha Franklin at 11 o'clock today. She hasn't opened it yet. Okay, so you can easily scroll down and see who's been looking at what, who's been doing what. Last portal visit is the last time they open up their email from you. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When you send a customer an email, if you kind of train them in the right way, they can make your life a little bit easier. Instead of calling you back and saying, yeah, I like 123 Main Street and like 405 Courtyard, why don't you tell them when they open up their email to place hearts next to their favorites, light bulbs to the ones that they're thinking about, and the ones that they do not like, just go ahead and throw those in the trash can. That way you get an idea of what they're liking. Well, let's come on down here a little bit to one. Now, this email was sent, the last time they received an email was on the 17th, but they opened it up yesterday. So they have 94 that they like and 139 they don't like and 50 that they've tossed away. So you're looking at this list thinking, oh, gee, okay, they like this many. Let's see what they are. So you would actually click on the number for the hearts, and you'll see the date that you emailed them. Easily, you're going to take your mouse and hover over status and sort them so you can see all the active ones. And after you get them on the phone and you discuss this, you can easily click on one of the properties here, and you can look at the listing with them and go through it. Again, you can click on the photos and go through all the photos to see which one they like. And if they say, yes, I'd like to make an appointment. For those of you that are using showing time, right here, you can hover over, this looks like a little palette, if you will. You can click on that and start setting up the times that are available for showings with them electronically and doing that there. Or you can always come over to the far right and you'll see the agent's name. You can call and make an appointment for them to see their property. But you can do this directly from your under My RCO and your contact list. You will also be able to see the ones that they don't like by clicking on the trash can and going, oh, gee, okay, I thought they'd like this, they don't. And maybe you might have questions of why they don't like it or what have you. But you will see the ones that they've tossed away. You also can see, by clicking on the light bulb, the ones that they're currently thinking about. I always click on status so I can put them in order that way so I can see the latest ones. and seeing what's available for them. Here's also another way that you can view your email, the same email that they are looking at. If I go under My RCO and go to Contacts, and let's go back to Aretha Franklin here because I know I just emailed that one. I'll click the down arrow and it lets me know that I have one email, the auto email that I've set up for her. I've got one saved search for her, and I've sent her 2 direct emails. So if I'm interested in looking at her entire portal, when I click on Open Portal, I can see that she has some, and notice that I can start a new search, or I can click on Rosedale Park and look at her results and go through that with her. Here's one that's a little more active, and I'll go back here and close this out. When I click that down arrow and I see that I've done 40 activities, 2 auto emails, 1 CMA, several sent emails, this one is a little more active. When I click on that, here's my portal greeting that I had you set up in the beginning. So there's your there is your greeting, but this is also the message that you have for your customer. Notice that some of her favorites, this will be a running search for her, just as a reminder that these are her favorite properties. Notice here's all the different topics and the dates that I sent those emails to her. And at any time you can click on it and it will show the different areas. And then you can see her activity here. So do know that when you email a customer several different times, it's a portal and everything dumps in there, and you will be able to look at all the different individual emails down to the date that you sent. And this is just what's current. Now this is what they can do. I'd like to also let you know that you can tell a customer to do this. When I click on the auto email search and I'm looking at everything, if they click the down arrow at the top, they too will be able to go through. Well, right now I'm looking at everything. Perhaps I just want to look at my Farmington Hills condos. I can click on that and just look at the Farmington Hills. I can go back up because you've sent me different areas. Now I can go to Birmingham and just look at the Birmingham ones. So as a customer, I have the opportunity to go through and filter as well. And a lot of agents don't know to tell their customers that. So they end up looking at this list of everything, and it's daunting for them. They can sort, yes, but sometimes I just want to focus. So if they go up to the top and click that down arrow, here will be all of the email areas that you've sent them. They can click on it and just view that particular area if they wish to. Again, don't forget that they can change the display and look at it any way that they like to. And then they can put their hearts, they can put their light bulbs, throw things in the trash can if they want, and they also have a cheat sheet. So if I want to just look at all of my favorites, I can click on that heart and look at all of my favorite properties and call you about them. But you can see this too. So as you see, they're making their hearts and favorites. Hopefully this will prompt a phone call from you to go, hey, I noticed that you had about 4 favorites today. Would you like me to call and make an appointment for you for those? And that will kind of hopefully push them in the direction of making a decision if they're really serious about purchasing a property at that time. So you can do all of your management simply by going under My RCO and Contacts after you've sent the auto emails and the direct emails to them, and manage it that way instead of filling up your inbox with all of the emails that you're looking at. You also can filter as well. Instead of looking at all of your contacts, when I go up to the top for choose filter, maybe I just want to look at the customers that have the auto emails that I'm sending out. Perhaps it's an old customer I've worked with. I haven't heard from them in years, and I just need to go through and go, oh boy, who is this? I just have a safe search for them. Okay, now I can reactivate it. Or perhaps those that haven't looked at their email, I can go through and see that in the last month or the last year, and I just want to get in contact with them again. So you can filter this many different ways. Those contacts that I have that you haven't worked with yet, you can pull that up. So once you get your contacts in, you can manage this several different ways. You have several different opportunities to do so. So just to reiterate what we've done today, we've gone through My RCO and we talked about putting your settings together. So make sure you go into My Information. You do that first. Add your pictures, what have you. We also went under My RCO and we talked about managing your saved searches and making sure when you click that down arrow that you can change the name, you can delete them, you can change the criteria. You can look at just the results or look at the results since the last time you viewed it, or get the last market updates, or delete it. When we go back under My RCO, if you set up auto emails, you can manage them, again, by clicking the down arrow and changing the name and reactivating them. Change the criteria, look at the results, again, looking back at the date since you last viewed it, market updates, or better yet, look at the same email that they are looking at, or deleting it. We also went into contacts and we talked about managing the contacts, and again, without sending yourself the same email, how you can manage the same email that that they are viewing. Pardon me. So I hope today was a little bit helpful in learning how to utilize all the things that you already have in your system so that you can better management and clean house. You want to get rid of those saved searches that you don't need anymore. You want to go through your auto emails and delete the people that never ended up working with you, or keeping them there and then just sending them an email again saying, I'm here, are you still looking? And then if you don't hear anything, deleting that out. And again, going through your contacts and simply managing it so that you work a little bit faster. So again, if you're interested in learning a little bit more or doing some hands-on with the topics that we talked about today, please come and visit us for the Prospecting and Realcomp Online 3 class. That's a 2.5-hour class, and we go through this and we talk about managing it along with your auto emails so that you have a full concept of how this works. We will have this video again. It will be placed under our help button in RCO3 under training videos and recorded webinars, just like all of our others. So we added in so far the search bar tips and tricks, searching PRD, real list and mailing labels, how to enter a listing, how to do a basic CMA, how to perform a map search, and again, how to save searches and auto emails. So you can pretty much, any class that we have, you can go through these, and when we're not available, just go ahead and watch the video and hopefully you'll find some helpful tips to get you through. So thank you for being here with us today, and look for us in another 2 weeks for another topic. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.